Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. It's Sarah and today I want to share with you how I've been using the Elements reinkers. I mean, we're really all excited that we can re-ink our ink pads, but there's so much more that you can do with these little tiny bottles. I've got a couple of samples to show you. I've been adding them to little bottles alongside some Mica Minerals to add some sparkle. Now hopefully you can see some of that sparkle in there. And making up just, I mean, I just love these backgrounds. I could probably make backgrounds like this forever. And what I do when I'm in a mood like this is I will make up lots and lots and then just have them to one side. So when I'm going to make something, I'm just trying to catch the shine on there. I've got ready-made card already that I can use. Also a great way if you've got a pile of scraps, things that didn't quite work out, you might want to just add a layer of ink or two over the top and reuse it, and it might come out how you want it to. So I've got a little pile of card here today, just a little stack of mixed sizes. They're just a bit random really, cut from an A4 piece, just because I'm going to play and I'm going to show you the layers that I created while I played. So first of all, I need to clear a space. So I've got my space sorted, and the first thing I'm going to have a go at is creating my own spray. Now I know we've got mica sprays and acrylic sprays and I love those, but what I love about this is that I can change this up however I want it to be, and it's going to coordinate with any of my Elements inks. So I've got there's a little 50ml bottle I think, and I've got probably about 15-20 mils of water in there. It's really, I've not done any exact measuring. I have just put some colour in and then kind of seen where I've gone from there, and if it needs a bit more I'll pop a bit more in. But I'm going to do a mix. I put about 4 drops of lemon drop in there. That's quite pale, but I'm just going to add a smidge of the russet orange. So already I'm creating a colour that doesn't currently exist because it's quite unique here. Now I'm going to add some Mica Minerals. You hardly need any of these because they are so shiny. Now remember, no talking while we open this, and certainly no sneezing. Now I have listened to my lovely friend Jo Rice, and I have picked up coffee stirrers from the coffee shop, but can I find them? No. So, which is very typical of me. So I'm using the end of my paintbrush instead, and I'm just popping a little bit in there. Now obviously you can put more in, you can put less in. It's just, I was quite surprised how far this sparkle went. I am going to indulge in a little bit more though. In there. And go away from this very sparkly. So there we go, in my little bottle. My bottles just happen to be that size, that's all. I'm going to grab a piece of card and a stencil, which I've just got out. There they are. And I'm going to layer with a couple of different stencils, and I should have looked, I think this is Ambiance. It's one of my favourites, but I will double check and put it in the list of supplies. So let's get spraying with this. Now do you see what I mean about it being quite pale? And this is how I started out, discovering that actually, especially that lemon drop, it's quite light, even with that drop of russet orange. But what I really like about this technique, loving that because I don't clean my stencils brilliantly, so I get serendipitous moments. What I loved about it is that I can keep adding colour to this little spray bottle and get it darker and darker. So over time, I'm just going to get different coloured layers. And that really came about purely because the first layer I put in was just too light. I'm just going to give that a blast, which I should have done with this. I mopped it with my kitchen roll, but if I hadn't, I would have got some nice darker areas. I'm not going to worry about it because that's the first layer. But can you see that sparkle? I don't know whether you can see that sparkle. I'm going to move it, see if you can see it. Oh, just gorgeous. Love a bit of sparkle. So I'm going to go back in, and I might do it this way around this time. So got a bit more of the russet orange in this one this time. Still a bit light. Can lift that up and print it down on here with my kitchen roll. And we can see some of those colours coming through. So can you see where I've got these lumps of colour? Lumps, you know what I mean, puddles. Puddles is a nice way of saying it. Rather than mopping that, I'm going to heat dry it, because it'll just give me that variety of texture and depth of colour. So that was slightly darker, that was russet orange and lemon drop. And this time I'm going to add a little bit of truffle. So it's still the same bottle, I'm just adding more drops of re-ink, so it's just a couple of drops. So I'm really sorry I can't give you precise recipes, because I would be just the same as you, wanting a precise recipe, but I promise you it's worth just playing. Now I actually really like that at the moment, but I'm going to keep going. In fact, I might, should we think about it? Might leave that one. Tempted. Look at all this yumminess on here. Let's spritz this one through. This is another favourite. I just think it works really, really well with this stencil. So we've got a bit of truffle in there now, so it should be slightly darker. Oh, look at that. I'm going to print it down on the top of this one. Press it down with my kitchen roll. And can you see we're just getting hints of another pattern on there now. My favourite bit is the printing side of things. I've got lots of sparkle. I don't know where it's picking it up on now, but lots and lots of sparkle on here. And it really was 2 tiny little dips. Now I could keep going and keep going with these, which is what I did. But I just want to show you quickly another way of adding the colour in here. So I'm really not sure what made me think of doing this. I think I was trying to use it up, and I used my baby white to spread the colour all over my piece of card. Probably should have done with a smaller piece for a demo. I'll just do the edge. Let's give it a blast. Can you see how quickly that's put together quite a blobby background? And look at all that sparkle in there. I'm just going to come back in with another layer. It's a bit like adding your ink pad to the acetate block and spritzing it and putting it down a lot quicker. And you don't get the little dots that you get on these. But I'm just loving the way that you get this really textured background. Sure, I can use that for something, so that won't be getting thrown away. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a bit more water to that little bottle. Pop some more. I deliberately got myself some little bottles, although I did use a bigger bottle to start with when I was first playing, because I'm not particularly interested in keeping this, because I forget what colours I've used, and I just end up not knowing what to do. So I reckoned that just changing the colour up as I go and then using it up to create more pieces meant that that just works better for me. So I'm going to come in on here. I'm going to come in with this new. Now this is light, should be lightened a bit because it's got quite a few drops of lemon drop in there. I'm going to add that on here. And again, I'm not mopping that off because I really like these puddles, and when I heat those puddles, those are going to be dark in some areas, and some areas, because it was a wet stencil I put down, it's lifted off the colour from the way I applied it with the kitchen roll. This has had a moment to join with the pattern of the other. Like a puddle than I was intending, but to be honest, you can't intend a lot here. It is very much about playing and adding those layers in. There we go. So I've got all, well, in a very similar way, except this one I added the colour with a baby wipe first and then started layering with the stencils. All pretty much a similar approach. So I'm going to cut one of these pieces down and stamp on it. I might just add a bit of, see what happens if I add a bit of background colour on here. it's looking a bit white for me in the background. So I might as well use what colour I've got left on my baby wipe and dry that off. And the kind of thing I like to make with these, I love making tags with things like this with very simple stamping on, like this one. That's got the poppy pods on it. You can see that's how I've made it. Or you can add some embossing. So similar way, baby wiped at the beginning, printing and spraying through a stencil repeatedly, and then I've white embossed the snowflake on top. But I'm just going to finish this one to create this with the mushroom stamp. It's one of my favourites. It's what got me started with Lavinia, on my Lavinia stamps journey, because I love making backgrounds and their silhouettes just stand out so beautifully on busy backgrounds like this. So let's get the mushroom stamp out, and I think I'm just going to do it in black. Very glittery stamp there. It's just so quick, and if you're making, you know, a few cards at once, making up masterboards like this, and then just having them available to stamp a silhouette stamp on is just perfect. So stamp my mushrooms on there. Oh, glitter everywhere. I can't remember whether I told you I used crystal gold with that one, and for my blue one, interestingly, that's metallic bronze. Shows up really differently with the ink on top. Right, I'm going to go and chop it and mount it. Right, so here we are. I've trimmed this one down and I've taken all the other pieces I used to create the mount, because I'm loving that contrast, and it's going to coordinate because I've used the same inks with both, or at least a relation of the same inks with both. I'm just going to glue those on. That's not very clean, is it? Get another one. Here we are. One of my favourite sizes of card to use is this little 4x4 square card. Let me just take that board away. You can see it going down. There we go. And then all I did was add, and you can use white Posca, or I'm using my Mangak, to add my windows, and that's it. Two different-ish cards, both using exactly the same techniques and using our Elements reinkers to make our own sprays. Thanks for joining me.